答對香港人嘅寄語。Thank you very much for attending the 10th Citizens Press Conference today. A very warm welcome from us here. Our theme today is Please don't congratulate us for hollow victory. The fight for freedom continues. The conference will be divided into 3 parts. We will begin with the Chinese and English speeches, followed by a sharing section by our guest speaker, Suzuki Hinano. Then we will finish with our Q&A section. We would like to thank Medical HK yet again for sending in their sign language interpreters. We are very lucky to have them with us every time indeed. 而家有請中文發言人。
烽火3月，香港人嘅血淚得到多國嘅關注。日前終於等到特首林鄭月娥一聲動議撤回，其餘4項訴求仍然俾人無視、砌詞推搪。不過大量外媒隨即以林鄭撤回爭議性條例為題報導，而香港人亦紛紛收到嚟自海外嘅抗爭勝利祝賀。但係正如我哋當日指出，林鄭嘅回應嚟得太少太遲，血債已經積咗。抗爭者根本無收貨嘅本錢，林鄭企圖為下星期一美國國會即將審議嘅香港人權及民主法案降溫。然而撤回一說根本就係糖衣毒藥，唔少坊間分析都指出，呢一舉非常之可能係為後續更加狠毒嘅清算鋪路，令到香港現時呢一場民權同埋人道危機狀況雪上加霜。因此，今日民間記者會希望喚回我哋國際同盟之間嘅更多關注，亦都請香港人繼續力抗強權。前路雖然艱難，但我哋已經得到世界各地嘅支持。今日政權嘅讓步，證明由同路人集結而成嘅民間智慧奏效。要取得更大嘅成功，我哋必須繼續努力，透過唔同戰線喺各處開花。首先，我哋希望向海外朋友再次聲明，唔少人認為林鄭願意撤回送中惡法係建立信心嘅第一步，但係面對一個殺人嘅政權，我哋談何信心呢？講到底，反送中只係一條人線，燒毀咗中共強行干預下制度扭曲變形嘅一塊遮醜布。3個月嚟，大家目睹連串嘅悲劇皆由此生。我哋懇請大家理解，香港人絕非貪得無厭，5大訴求始終如一，所要求嘅都係避免悲劇再度發生嘅必要之舉。香港唔願亦唔可以重演30年前嘅6四屠城。我哋深知動議撤回背後極有可能係陷阱。正如林鄭月娥電視講話最後一段指出，政府會對所有違法及暴力行為嚴正執法。配合日前政府不斷為緊急法吹風，我哋絕對有理由相信，今次所謂嘅釋出善意，背後等待緊香港人嘅係一場大手報，並進一步收緊香港人嘅自由。可幸嘅係，除咗心清眼亮嘅香港人之外，各國政要亦都早就睇穿咗林鄭月娥玩弄語言藝術嘅詭計。如一直關注香港情況嘅美國共和黨參議員魯比奧就直指撤回修訂條例並唔足夠，要求北京信守承諾，令港人享有高度自治並停止暴力威嚇。眾議員議長佩洛西亦都呼籲特區領導人容許港人有普選嘅權利，以及調查警察涉嫌濫用暴力，停止武力鎮壓示威者等等。佢哋處於千里之外，未曾落過區，亦都同民意連成一線。我等喺呢度敢問，自稱係香港之母嘅林鄭月娥，你有冇感到羞恥呢？其次，經過90日嘅抗爭，香港已經唔再係世界所認知嘅國際文明都會，因為林鄭政府同埋中央嘅政權一手將香港拉入一個人權同埋人道危機中。只係9月開初，政權縱容嘅種種警權問題已經深深傷害咗我哋信奉嘅普世價值。市民問個問題被打爆頭，脊椎受傷者唔得即時送院， 新屋嶺扣留中心示威者被延誤治療，以及無理追捕中學生，以延入罪搜捕巴士等等，每一日都喺度刷新我哋對於邪惡嘅認知，徹底違反國際人道法之餘，更加助長咗不問對錯，只要支持政權就可以肆意打人嘅歪理。因此，我哋希望國際嘅戰友聽到我哋嘅呼救。香港已經唔再係昔日你哋眼中嘅東方之珠，我哋嘅人權同埋生命正陷入緊生死存亡之際，極需要大家救援。第三，反送中運動發展至今，一直備受外國關注。當政府提出惡法之後，美國商會即帶頭反對，然後就係歐盟28國罕有咁樣向港府提交外交照會。後嚟發展至 G7 重新肯定中英聯合聲明，乃至美國總統特朗普將中國有否落實中英聯合聲明作為中美貿易談判嘅先決條件，得到國際社會嘅高度重視。除咗係抗爭者積極透過海外媒體同埋社交平台發布信息嘅成果之外，亦都同香港特殊嘅國際地位有關。香港唔單止係中國治下嘅一個特區，更加係關乎全球各國利益嘅國際金融與情報中心，牽一發足以撼動全球之心。面對地上最大威權國打壓，除咗關注，我哋更加需要國際間嘅力量支援。美國國會倡議嘅香港人權與民主法案將會係其中一枚威力驚人嘅震撼彈。法案如果獲得通過，美國國會將有權收回香港各項現時享有與中國唔同嘅待遇，包括唔承認獨立關稅區地位。法案亦都賦予總統嘅權力，將侵害香港人權與民主自治者列入黑名單，凍結其喺美國嘅資產同埋禁止入境。我哋希望透過法案，令到中共喺貿易戰升級為冷戰之前，重新作出利害估算。同時亦都要部分香港人明白，冇咗兩制嘅真正代價到底係有幾高。此外，我哋都希望今日訪華嘅德國總理默克爾同埋中國領導人會面嘅時候，可以就香港嘅局勢提出關切，以坦誠友善嘅語氣講出佢嘅批評。我哋必須強調呢一啲民主國家對香港嘅關注同埋行動，並唔係有人吹奏嘅外國勢力干預香港事務，而係所有尊重民主自由嘅人對於中共政權持續嘅暴虐欺凌嘅一次協作抵抗。逆權運動已經唔只係香港嘅事，亦都已經成為中共周旋促進全球人權同埋自由嘅戰爭。而我哋嘅屋企正正就係守護緊自由同埋法治價值嘅橋頭堡。香港人連月以嚟以血肉之軀守護香港嘅自由、自治同埋國際獨特地區，奮不顧身抵抗中共政權嘅欺壓，已經成為咗全球抗爭運動嘅一種新典範。呢一場時代革命背後，係香港人身為世界公民一直堅守嘅核心價值：自由、民主、人權。全世界已經先後領教過中共嘅貪婪同埋橫蠻。今日新疆，明日香港；今日香港，明日國際。唇亡齒寒下，全球均被逼活喺中共嘅強權陰影之下。民間記者會喺度警告林鄭月娥：你一舉撤回，絕對唔會令香港人撤退，亦都唔會令到世界各地有心人漠視喺呢個地方發生緊嘅人道危機。因為呢個政權嘅所作所為已經違反緊世界上面所有人嘅認知，所以各位手足，我哋必須將我哋嘅決心堅定不移咁樣延續落去。此時此刻，我哋需要各同路人更加自發咁樣去加持，由被動參與活動嘅心態轉化成主動提出新方向同埋籌辦活動嘅心態。我哋深信每一位同路人都可以成為活動嘅發起人。我哋定將凝聚民間最大嘅力量，為自由公義繼續抗爭。五大訴求，缺一不可。
Hello. If you, our international friends, think our government has finally backed down, you have walked right into their trap. The bill has not been withdrawn, and even if it were, we would still be losing. The motive behind our government choosing to make the announcement of a fake withdrawal at this particular moment is to meet the 1st of October deadline. In other words, the Hong Kong government wants to undermine international and local support and local efforts to pressure the government into a response via the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act, whose passage is much feared by the Hong Kong and the Chinese governments, to be debated in the US Congress. Carrie Lam's misleading announcement is thus a deliberate and desperate attempt to diminish international support for the anti-extradition movement before Congress resumes on the September of the 9th. Another point to note is that until the LECO resumes in October to even discuss the proposal of the withdrawal, the bill is very much alive. Given the abysmal record this government for its ever questionable sincerity, how can we be sure that this government will truly ensure that the bill will be fully dead and never resurrected? What about our sacrifices? What about the 9 suicides, the mysterious deaths, over 1,000 arrests, countless bone fractures, and 3 ruptured eyeballs? Does Carrie Lam honestly think that this talk of a fake withdrawal is atonement? If she does, this is naive at best and offensive at worst. Are the lives of countless civilians worth nothing more than one empty and easily overturned word from her? Some argue that we should be happy about this partial victory and have no right to press the government for more. This is wrong on 3 counts. Firstly, the 5 demands have always stayed the same. No more and no less. These demands are interlocked to prevent tragedies like those over the past months from spiraling into another Tiananmen Square massacre. Secondly, this is hardly even a partial victory. As Carrie Lam chose the easiest demand to satisfy, it is also easily another lie. If she has already announced the bill dead in early July, and that she meant it as withdrawal, why did she need to separately announce the bill withdrawn the day before? Doesn't this just prove that she was lying the first time around? Thirdly, and the most importantly, who was it that forced the one initial demand, namely the withdrawal of the extradition bill, to snowball into 5 demands? If this government had simply withdrawn the bill months ago, rather than choosing to first beat its own people to pulp before deciding to withdraw, would there even have been a need for so many demands? It is encouraging to see that many of our overseas friends have themselves seen through the headlines. They can see the truth that protesters have not won. The bill is not yet withdrawn. And there have been no confident building steps, as the British Foreign Secretary, Dominic Raab, thought. US Senator Marco Rubio rightly slams the withdrawal proposal for its inadequacy, and it demands that Beijing keep the promise for a high degree of autonomy for Hong Kong and stop all violent oppressions. US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi also urged the Hong Kong authorities to cease all violence by the police, to deliver universal suffrage to the city, and to carry out an independent investigation into police brutality. When foreign officials from thousands of miles away understand the needs of the people of Hong Kong better than Carrie Lam, who calls herself the mother of her people, does this not put her to shame as governor of the people she should serve? This current resistance movement has long moved beyond the political issues that it first concerned. Carrie Lam has played trons on the responsibilities to defend the freedom and rights of her people, and covertly sanctioned the lethal choices made by her police force. This collusion has created a humanitarian crisis ever since July. One single event on its own, such as the 31st of August terrorist attack of the Prince Edward MTR station, already begs innumerable questions that are still left unanswered. Why did the police prevent first aiders from entering the scene to rescue those in critical condition? Why did they close down the station for 2 days? Was this an effort to block the journalists from reporting in the name of law enforcement? Why did the number of injuries not match up between the official versions? Why were the injured not delivered to the hospital immediately? And lastly, who can we turn to when the police intend to murder? The police's abuse of power has also violated the universal values in which we so believe. A young man was attacked on his neck just for asking a question. The police stormed into a bus without warranty to carry out arrests just because of a single political comment made by a passenger. And a young man who was sustained injury in the spine, as well as the detainees in the Sun Oak Lane Detention Center, were denied medical treatment. Rescue and medical aid must be carried out even during wartime. In the light of this, once Asia's finest, the Hong Kong police force has already committed serious crimes against humanity. Hong Kong is no longer a safe civil society that you and I once knew, because the government and the police force are determined to re-educate us on the definition of evil every day. The anti-extradition movement has been a focal point of international attention ever since it began. The US Chamber of Commerce was among the first to object to the bill quickly after its proposal, followed by the 28 member states of the European Union who initiated similar efforts. From reconfirmation of the validity of the Sino-British Joint Declaration at the G7 summit to Donald Trump's establishment of delivery of the terms in the Joint Declaration as a prerequisite for negotiations with China. Such high levels of international concern, for which we are immensely grateful, has seen us through thick and thin indeed. We hope that Hong Kong's position as a global hub for culture and commerce grants it a unique power to move the world with its every step forward. In the face of political oppression by the largest authoritarian state on earth, we will also hope to obtain concrete support of powerful states around the world. As such, the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act to be introduced in the US Congress next Monday is crucial. Shall this bill pass, the US Congress will be entitled to withdraw the special treatment afforded to Hong Kong by the US Hong Kong Policy Act of 1992, which differentiated it from China as a free port. The bill will also grant the US President the power to identify and sanction those complicit in suppressing basic human rights and freedoms in Hong Kong by freezing their US-based assets and denying them US entry. We hope that this bill will pass. China will reassess its position before the trade war escalates into a Cold War, and that Hong Kong society will understand the cause of two systems melting into one. Furthermore, we hope that the Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, will express her concern for Hong Kong and her condemnation in honest, friendly words when she meets Chinese leaders today. We must reiterate that the sympathy that comes from the free world is not a sign of foreign interference, as certain people so eagerly claim, but an open appeal from all who embrace the values of liberties against the tyrannical and murderous communist China's rule. What happened to Xinjiang could happen to Hong Kong. What is happening in Hong Kong could also happen elsewhere in the world. This resistance movement is therefore no longer just a Hong Kong's problem, but a war for freedom fought by the whole world, with our homeland being at the very forefront of this battle. Day in and day out, we shed our blood and tears to defend civil rights, liberties, and autonomy promised to us, as well as our unique international status. We put our lives on the line to resist a whole regime because there is no more ground for us to back into. We are displaying to the world our wit, collective agency, and perseverance every single day. President Reagan once said after a meeting with the Soviet leader at the time, everything was negotiable except two things, our freedom and our future. That's why we will not withdraw from our quest upon Carrie Lam's empty promise to withdraw a bill, nor can we afford to lose your support, which has been warming our hearts and spirits even from thousands of miles away. Dear friends, we can be exhausted, disappointed, and frustrated, but we cannot stop. 5 demands, not one less. Thank you.
多謝我哋兩位發言人，而家有請平野玲子小姐。Thank you for the speeches. We will now move on to our sharing section. We are very grateful to have Ms. Susuko Hinalo with us today. If you are ready, please.
一連の流れ。
在今次反修例運動中同港人同行嘅經歷。
6月13日、渋谷で行われた集会に參加する。
6月13日第一次喺涉谷參加集會。
6月の14日、新幹線に乗って名古屋まで集会に參加しに行く。
6月14日乘搭新幹線前往名古屋參加集會。
その時、誰かが私のスピーチを撮影してくれたので、ツイッターにアップしてみる。
當時我在集會嘅發現，有人拍下影片上載到 Twitter，
優しい香港人が翻訳してくれる。
然後有好心嘅香港人幫手翻譯咗當時嘅發言嘅內容，並喺香港嘅網絡上廣泛流傳。
6月の16日、その時の動画が立場新聞に報じられる。
6月16日，名古屋嘅發言片段於立場新聞刊出。
2000人の香港人の方からお禮のメッセージが届く。
有近2000名嘅香港市民留低咗感謝嘅話語。
6月の20日17時、ここで撤回しなかったら覚悟を決めようと決意。結果、撤回されず、警察庁にデモの初申請をする。
喺當日5點係香港政府係我哋提出嘅撤回期限。如果當日冇撤回條例嘅話，佢就決定向日本警方提出第一次嘅抗議示威申請。當日係佢第一次申請主辦示威。
6月の29日 G20 習近平主席来日に合わせて東京で抗議デモをやる。人生初のデモ主催。
6月29日喺 G20 習近平訪日嘅前夕，喺東京舉辦咗佢第一次主辦嘅示威遊行。
8月の8日アップルデイリーの一面を飾る。
8月8日，香港蘋果日報刊登咗平野玲姐小姐嘅全頁專訪。
8月の27日ジャパンタイムズに載る。
8月27日 Japan Times 刊登咗有關佢嘅報導。
8月の31日 Stand with Hong Kong 日本代表。
8月31號 Stand with Hong Kong 全球運動入邊擔任日本嘅代表。
日本人の声。
日本人的聲音。
香港の自由を守りたい。しかし自分には何ができるのかわからないという人が多い。
好多人都話想保護香港嘅自由，但係唔清楚自己可以為香港做到啲咩，或者係點樣實質上援助香港。
在港日本人の逮捕について。
對於在港日本人被逮捕一事，
デモに参加したわけでもないのに無差別に捕まり、領事館への連絡も断られたことに絶句した。
根據香港教育大學學生會會長嘅證供，831恐襲被逮捕嘅日本人並冇提供佢參加過遊行嘅明顯證供，卻被警方無理對待，甚至拒絕聯絡領事館。對此我感到無奈及憤怒。
意思を示す。
我的信念。
私は今後何があろうと香港と共にいます。最後まで一緒です。5つの要求が通るまで私も最後まで戦います。私は香港人ではありません。しかし同じ時代を生きています。そして私たちは自由を愛している。理由はそれだけで十分です。
無論今後發生什麼事，我都會同香港人戰鬥到最後一刻，直到5大訴求得到回應之前，我係絕不退縮。我雖然唔係香港人，但係作為生於同一個世代，同樣為自由而戰，呢個就係我同香港人企喺同一戰線嘅理由。
今後について。
有關今後嘅行動。
心から愛する在日香港人の仲間と共に Stand with Hong Kong をやり続ける。香港をサポートすることを世界に訴える。日本人に香港の現狀を伝えるためにずっと活動し続けます。
今後將會同各位親愛嘅在日香港人一齊繼續去舉辦 Stand with Hong Kong 呢個全球支援香港嘅運動，將我哋日本支持反修例、支持香港嘅聲音繼續傳達開去，亦都會令到更加多嘅日本人了解香港嘅情況，而一直繼續努力。
香港人に伝えたいこと。
寄予香港人。
いつも素敵なメッセージをありがとうございます。私のことを仲間と呼んでくれてありがとう。日本人だからといってのけ者にしないでほしい。私たちは同じ時代を生きている。共に自由のために同じリスクで戦いたい。出会えたこと、そして 同じ時代を生きていることに心から感謝します。永遠に愛しています。
感謝你哋一直嘅支持，亦都多謝你哋稱呼我為戰友。我唔希望因為我係日本人嘅身份喺今次運動入邊被排除在外。我哋生於同一世代，同樣係為咗背負自由而戰嘅戰友。我因為可以同你哋喺同一個時代出現同埋相遇而感到自豪。我會永遠愛住你哋香港嘅戰友。
好多謝我哋嘅嘉賓嘅發言。咁嚟緊就係我哋問答環節，同樣照以往都係。sorry，唔好意思，而家係英文嘅sum up，唔好意思啊，有英文嘅sum up。
Hello. Following is the summary of the speech just now. From a novice participant who has never been to a rally until the 13th of June, to the Japanese representative of Stand with Hong Kong Global Solidarity. As the face of Japanese support for the resistance movement in Hong Kong, Mr. Tsuko Hirano's message is loud and clear. Regardless of nationality, the fight for freedom and justice is universal and perseverance. Ms. Hirano pointed out that many Japanese people have very limited understanding of the Chinese Communist Party, nor are they familiar with the concept of Wu Mao. Hence, they did not pay much attention to this movement at the beginning. Now, with the help of social media and many Japanese-speaking Hong Kongers explaining the movement to them, the situation has changed, and increasingly the story of Hong Kong receive more media coverage. She will continue to stand by and fight with us through her work at Stand with Hong Kong Global Solidarity, together with the Hong Kong residents in Japan until all 5 demands have been met. Last but not least, she feels incredibly proud to be called a comrade by the Hong Kong community, since we are all comrades in the same era who are willing to bear immense risks to pursue our birthright to freedom.
我而家真係嚟到問答環節啦，同以往一樣都係每位傳媒朋友舉手發問，問之前講一講自己嘅傳媒機構，跟住問多於2條問題。And we will now have the Q&A session of the day. Due to the limited time that we will have today, we would like to ask each of the journalists on the ground to pose on no more than 2 questions at one time. And please do give us your affiliation as well before your question. Thank you. 有冇傳媒？
你好啊 TVB 嘅，想問翻呢，就係今次政府話撤回，咁你哋就唔接受，就要求翻5大訴求啦。咁會唔會有啲乜嘢嘅升級行動啦？同埋會唔會話再設一個死線俾政府呢？
係，首先多謝你嘅提問啦。咁首先回應第一個問題就係會唔會有任何升級行動？咁首先就係好重要，就係呢啲決定咧係一班手足一齊決定嘅。咁但係林鄭就好明顯啦，就正如啱啱所提到，佢咧係假借出一個善意啦，然後扮回應咗啦，然後就企圖去欺騙我哋嘅廣羅大眾。但係其實咧大家都知道，其實佢咩都冇回應嘅，而亦都好清楚見到民間嘅訴求就係講緊5大訴求，缺一不可。咁所以今日市民亦都同樣係強硬嘅態度去堅守我哋嘅訴求。咁所以嚟緊嘅行動咧，將會係由其他人一齊去決定究竟會有啲咩嘅行動。係。
Now TV 啊，想問翻有小姐其實知唔知本身使唔使用英文嚟教？即係本身會唔會熟悉嗰個喺香港俾人拉嗰個日本人啦？暫時知唔知佢嘅情況係點啦？咁同埋另外2位頭先都有講過話擔心其實係林鄭人或之後大手捕啦，其實會唔會都擔心咗日後被捕嘅風險會大咗啊？即係第會繼續堅持落去咁。
逮捕された、日本人の方について、知り合いではないです。情報としては釈放されたという情報しか私は知りません。
佢係唔識得嗰位被逮捕咗嘅先生，佢都係通過新聞嚟知道佢依家係保釋咗嘅情況係。
咁我都回應翻啱啱 Now TV 嘅提問啦，話擔唔擔心嚟緊嘅被捕風險大咗？我相信每一個人犧牲自己嘅人身安全，尤其是面對而家警權嘅過大啦、濫捕啦、濫捕啦等等嘅行為啦，甚至係831嘅恐怖襲擊啦，我相信每一個市民咧都好擔心自己嘅人身安全嘅，而被捕嘅風險咧亦都絕對有提高嘅。咁我哋係絕對擔心，但係同時我都要提醒各位就係、記住係不被捕啦、不流血啦，我哋唔希望再有任何嘅人命傷亡出現。係，多謝。
你好，蘋果日報都想問翻平野玲子小姐咧，有冇話佢而家喺香港係咪都有參與一啲示威嘅活動？有冇即係除咗嗰位日本人被捕之外，有冇見過一啲警察濫捕嘅情況咁樣？咁第二個問題就係、其實你哋都喺美國國會即係討論呢個關係法之前，可能會係咪會再有一啲活動，同埋有冇啲咩想寄語翻？即係可能即係香港嘅商界啊等等，其實即係呢個國會法對佢哋其實潛在住有啲咩嘅影響？有冇啲警告俾佢哋？好，唔該晒。
9月の3日にプリセードアートステーションの現場に行きました。で9時から、12時ぐらいまでそちらの現場にいて、初めてその香港の現状を知り、もっと何かできることがしたいと、思っております。警察が、逮捕したところは見ていないんですが、後日動画で、意識が不明の抗議者をに対して意識がないのに揺さぶるような、動画を見てすごいショックを受けました。
喺9月3日嘅時候，平野玲子小姐係去咗太子嘅現場嘅，咁佢就由9點係留到12點嘅。咁當時我哋就去咗嗰個現場嗰度，咁就有落到站嗰度，因為當時已經有一班記者圍住咗，咁佢就冇目擊到個情況，但係事後喺 Twitter 喺 Facebook 嗰度見到嗰個原來就係頸椎俾人搞到嗰個21歲嘅青年，佢覺得非常之憤慨，佢覺得可唔可以之後為香港再做更加多嘅嘢，再參加到更加多嘅現場，去更加多嘅現場去幫香港人。佢真係傳達呢個現場係點樣俾日本人知，係。
你好，繼續回應啱啱《蘋果日報》嘅嗰位小姐嘅提問，就係咧呢個美國嘅民主人權法案咧，即將會喺美國國會復會之後開始被討論，而且而家暫時聽到嘅流傳嘅版本咧，都係通過機會十分之大嘅。而我哋民間記者會亦都留意到咧，喺之後呢一個星期日咧，會有一個去美國領事館嘅一個集會啦，或者一個遊行咧，係希望可以引發到國際嘅關注，並且可以用一個民間外交嘅方式，直接同美國嘅議員去話俾佢哋聽，香港人需要佢哋嘅支持，而且喺呢個民主路上，我哋嘅決心係唔會被磨滅。而再回應翻就係商界呢個問題咧，坊間有個傳言商人無祖國，佢哋只會追住利益而跑來跑去。但係我亦都希望呼籲喺香港營商嘅，無論係大企業定係中小企，請你留意翻你哋長足發展，可唔可以喺香港安身立命呢一個問題？若然唔能夠真心支持香港人嘅話，將會有一個喺經濟上嘅可能係會有後果嘅。而同時咧，我亦都希望喺呢度呼籲外國政府，無論係美國遲啲嘅美國人權法案啦，無論係而家德國嘅總理默克爾去會面中方領導人，會提出一啲新嘅關注啦或者訴求，我哋希望外國嘅領導人都可以踏出呢一步，喺呢一個國際嘅 community 入邊去捍衛翻民主、人權呢啲基本價值。多謝各位。
Thanks, Richard from RTHK. You questioned the sincerity of Carrie Lam in actually withdrawing this bill. Can you just talk about sort of, do you feel that she won't actually go through with it when LegCo resumes in next month? And also, second question is, with sort of the confusion maybe that's caused by this withdrawal announcement, how do you plan to keep public attention on Hong Kong, international attention? How do you plan to keep that international pressure in Hong Kong as well?
Thank you for your question. The first question is about how do we judge the sincerity of Carrie Lam's on the withdrawal of the bill. Firstly, we can see it took her around 3 months from a suspension to a dead bill, and then to 2 days ago, a withdrawal bill. And the first two, it's not in compliance with any legal rules or the regulations of the Legislative Council, which is fake, or in other words, she was lying. She was not acting in the rule of law. That's why we can, and also till today, when all the demands have been snowballed into 5 big demands, with no one less, withdrawing the bill today does not cost Carrie Lam anything. It's just a word from her, it's an empty promise from her mouth. And even the regulation of the Legislative Council stated that she can announce to withdraw the bill. She has, in some sense, motioned to withdraw the bill and pass the ball to the Legislative Council to decide, which is peculiar at best and insincere at most. And also regarding how to keep the international attention to the movement, I urge the international community, no matter you are a citizen or you are a journalist or you are a politician, we welcome every action that you deem possible and helpful, because we are fighting with the largest authoritarian state in the world, and not only the Communist China and also the Hong Kong SAR government. We need every support. And also, in this sense, I also urge the Hong Kong people to endure the hardship that is upon to them. Our resolution to freedom and democracy is unparalleled, but please do not be injured, do not be arrested. Thank you very much.
Any question?
Thank you for taking my question. I'm working for CDF German TV. My name is Ulf Roller. And you just talked about our Chancellor who right now is meeting the Chinese leadership. So my question, I guess, is, so far as I see it, you have a lot of verbal support by the international community, but so far there is no talk about sanctions if the Chinese government is crackdowning on your movement. Do you expect more from the international community? Are you scared that they maybe, when it comes to really hard decisions, they're going to go for the economic situation and not for you?
We would like to, for example, if I didn't misunderstood your question, is that when it comes to hard decisions, foreign governments may not take the right step, which is basically, okay, thank you. Yes, I believe this is a very difficult situation because among all the free worlds, all the democratic states, of course, they need to uphold democratic values like human rights, civil rights, but however, they have election pressure. If they mess up with the trade, the economy, they will be punished by the voters. They will be changed with another, maybe more pro-economic growth candidate. But back to the basic step is that this is what built their own country. For example, the federal Germany, the United States of America, the United Kingdom, which is the oldest democracy in the world. These are the most basic value that the Hong Kong people, a small city that with only 7 million population, are trying to remind them the core value. Like we do not bow, we do not kowtow to authoritarian states. We do not bow to powers. We will step up and voice out our demands and to defend our rights. So, of course, there are a lot of difficulties in the political world. One day is too long for politics. However, please remind that what makes you the free world, a member of the free world. Please remember that. Thank you.
唔好意思，case evaluation 嘅網主係 BK。我想問兩個問題㗎。 第一個問題就係、角色扮演者呢個銀心啦，咁就係喺呢一個嘅馬來西亞受到呢一個反送中嘅事受到威脅啦。咁而平野小姐咧，如果呢一排嘅話，有冇話受到一啲其他嘅勢力去威脅到你嘅安全？另外一個問題咧，咁就係、關於太子站嘅。咁太子站咧，其實咧今朝早咧港鐵咧亦都係講咗啦，咁就係唔會去鏟呢一個 CCTV 嘅。咁如果係民間記者會方面啦，咁就係會有啲咩嘅反應咁樣咧？唔該你。
ごもからの攻撃は、毎日のように起こっております。殺人予告とかも、たまに来たりします。
佢每日都收到5毛嘅信息，咁當然係亦都包括咗一啲有關殺人預告，想要殺咗佢嘅一啲咁嘅信息啦。
自殺についてなんですが、私もそういう感情になった、自殺したいと思ったような経験もありますが、今は頑張って復活していますし、やっぱり大事なのはハグ、スキンシップとかハグとかそういうものが大事だと思うので、ハグとスキンシップを心がけてほしいっていうのが、と思います。
首先係即係冇理解錯係有關自殺個問題先啦。咁首先自殺呢樣嘢咧，佢就話佢自己曾經都係陷入過呢個情況入邊嘅。咁喺呢個情況嘅時候，佢就覺得即係同他人嘅温暖嘅接觸，即係例如係俾一個擁抱佢，即係俾一啲温暖佢，係一個比較重要嘅方法嚟嘅。係咁，呢啲都我哋唔知嘅，好靚
プリンスエドワードステーションの、弔いの場所はずっと昨日行ったんですが、そうです二度とまたこうした事件が起こらないように自分ができることをしていきたいと、そう強く誓ってきました。
佢琴日就去咗太子嗰個悼念嘅地方，佢希望之後唔會再發生咁樣嘅事，希望唔會再有類似嘅事件發生。
咁回應翻啱啱提到話太子站恐襲嘅事啦，咁就話地鐵站而家願意交出 CCTV。咁以民間記者會嘅消息咧，就指出應該係因為無依用法律嘅程序啦，咁就去逼翻地鐵站去交出佢嘅 CCTV 嘅。咁但係一日未公開究竟個真相係點呢？我相信香港人都唔會咁容易罷休，因為喺片段中其實好清楚咁見到咧，香港警察咧係用好濫用暴力咁去對待一啲市民啦，搭緊地鐵站嘅市民啦，即使係冇攻擊性啦，冇任何武器咧，佢哋都依然係無差別攻擊嘅。咁而最後咧都唔俾救護人員進站啦，亦都唔俾任何記者採訪啦。咁亦都封站咗2日啦，所以其實香港人根本就唔知道究竟嗰日嗰一晚發生咗啲咩事。咁我相信如果地鐵站地鐵要埋沒良心，佢唔俾香港人追求真相呢，我相信有良心嘅香港人呢都唔會就咁罷休，都會有方法應對嘅。而佢之前亦都前言不對後語啦，又話 CCTV 壞咗啦，咁所以其實真係一日未公開咧，一日都唔知道嗰日究竟係點。咁然後回應完呢個問題之後咧，我都想講一講有關自殺嘅問題。就係我想民間記者會喺度咧，就想同各位手足講，我哋懇求你唔好放棄你自己。你可以覺得攰，無論你喺咩崗位都好， 無論你做緊啲咩都好，但係我求下你哋唔好放棄你自己。如果你覺得攰，如果你覺得冇希望，無論你覺得點都好，我希望你可以10點出去嗌口號又好，你上去連登睇個 post 都好，我相信你出去嗌一嗌咧，我相信出邊會有200萬人咧都會一齊回應你嘅。但係咧，我好想講嘅就係，我哋為緊呢個香港，為緊呢個屋企爭取一個更好嘅民主自由嘅價值。但係呢個屋企咧，如果冇咗屋企人咧，我哋會一定要有遺憾，一定唔似一個屋企。所以我懇求大家唔好放棄你自己。如果當你有咁嘅諗法，你揾身邊嘅人，甚至你嚟揾民間記者會都可以。但係我求下你哋唔好放棄你自己。係。
Regarding the question that about committed suicide, I would like to add a few points because I believe that in Hong Kong there might be some of the residents that do not speak Cantonese or Chinese, so I would like to add on in this point in English that if you care about Hong Kong, it must be desperate for you to live through these 3 months. It's heartbreaking. It's unbelievable. It's a ridiculous state that we have to face. We have to bear upon this. If you are tired, take a break. If you are angry, yell slogans. If you can go for a trip, you can have some nice food, but please do not harm yourself. If you think there's really nothing more to hope for, please take a look at the back. We are all behind you, supporting you. Please do not harm yourself. Thank you.
Situation from Voice America. Just want to ask about this Sunday's march to the U.S. Embassy. I don't know if you were involved in this, or if so, if you know anything about that, could you just tell us and what specifically you're going to address out there and hope the U.S. to do to help the Hong Kong people.
Thank you for your question. The Citizen Press Conference is not in any sense involved in the march that is going to happen this Sunday with the destination at the U.S. Consulate of Hong Kong and Macau. But we also would urge that the Hong Kong people to ask their conscience and to decide the best behavior that they would like to be. If they want to go, of course they can go. If they do not want to go, they want to take a break, or they want to they want to leave the whole movement, it's fine for them to decide. But as we have mentioned a lot of times in both Chinese, Cantonese, and English, that we do not condemn our comrades on the behavior in here. All of us are the vanguards of freedom. Thank you.
好，我哋係美國之音嘅記者嚟嘅。咁其實咧冇留意到咧，就係最近即係浸會大學嘅學生會副會長梁兆玉咧，喺入境澳洲嘅時候咧，就即係俾澳洲嘅邊防警察係扣留啦。咁亦都係查看佢嘅手機啦，同埋佢嘅社交帳戶咁樣樣。咁阿梁兆玉接受即係澳洲廣播公司訪問嘅時候就話咧，佢俾呢個邊防警察扣留嘅時候咧，佢就聲稱咧就話香港有暴動，同埋問佢咧嚟澳洲嘅目的咁樣，同埋都即係有即係問佢嘅行李有冇收藏武器啊之類。咁其實呢一個嘅即係遭遇咧，其實咪都睇到其實即係而家香港嘅抗爭者去爭取呢個國際嘅支持嘅時候咧，其實都即係喺北京嘅壓力啊，或者係即係其他外國政府點樣睇，即係而家香港嘅抗爭嘅時候，都即係未必係一面倒去支持香港嘅抗爭者，都受到好多嘅可能啲威脅啦。咪所以都睇到有啲喺外國嘅而家即係爭取即係支持反送中嘅，都即係有啲嘅中國嘅海外移民，亦都喺即係有嗰度有啲嘅即係反制嘅措施嘅咁樣樣。咁其實喺呢個爭取國際支持嘅時候，而家即係抗爭者點睇而家即係有啲嘅反作用力喺度啊咁樣樣嚇。
多謝你嘅問題啦。爭取支持 絕對唔係一件容易嘅事。簡單至你去隔離屋借支豉油，對方都可能會有顧忌或者困惑，更何況嘅係我哋去咗人哋嘅國家，去問佢哋嘅管治階層或者佢哋嘅公民去獲取協助嘅時候，猜忌係一定會存在嘅。但係我哋亦都會用我哋嘅善意，用香港人珍重嘅普世價值、自由、民主、人權，嘗試去逾越呢啲嘢。而當然啦，浸會大學嗰位同學佢只係被detain，佢只係被扣留嘅時候，呢個唔係一種打壓，因為澳洲係一個有法治、有民主、有人權嘅地方。Check and balance 制度制衡係可以保障到佢嘅公民權利或者旅客嘅權利不受侵犯，所以呢個唔係一種惡意嘅打壓。當然澳洲甚至係其他好多嘅國家一定會受到嚟自北京嘅壓力，呢個係必然嘅，因為自由世界最大嘅弱點就係有極權國家濫用人哋嘅自由去做一啲抹殺自由嘅嘢，呢個正正係北京政府而家做緊嘅嘢。當然而家正如啱啱所講，唔係一帆風順，但係我哋會繼續努力。而我哋亦都會見到國際上對我哋有大量嘅支持，無論係對北京政府施壓啦，無論係真係嚟支持香港人，包括今日在座嘅玲子小姐，已經係一種切切實實嘅支持。我十分感謝國際社會對我哋嘅關注。
咁我都想補充一下啦。咁我哋對於國際嘅支持咧係感到樂觀，但係我哋期望會有更多嘅幫助啦。無論你可以提供到啲咩幫助，我哋都非常之歡迎嘅，因為方法咧可以有好多種。咁同時，尤其是係嚟緊嘅美國人權法案啦，咁我哋係十分之希望可以通過嘅。咁而亦都補充一下，就係嚟緊星期日嘅集會啦，民間記者會咧係唔係大台咯？我哋冇權去叫任何人做任何嘢咯。但係我哋都鼓勵每一個香港人可以為自己嘅民主自由嘅價值，為我哋嘅五大訴求踏出一步啦。咁所以如果正所謂兄弟爬山各自努力，咁所以如果你認為你嘅方法係可以爭取到嘅，可以行出到一步嘅，咁你即管去做。多謝。
我仲想補充多一個論點，就係話啱啱我哋講緊嘅係國際嘅支持，但係喺呢幾個月我哋亦都見到幾樣事例，我係想特別喺呢度提出，就係中國大陸公民同埋澳門人對於香港嘅支持。澳門人喺23條已經立法嘅時候，仍然行出去議事堂前地靜默支持香港人，呢樣嘢香港人絕對想像唔到，呢個勇氣係幾咁無以復加。更加唔需要提及嘅就係中國大陸嗰啲公民，佢亦都用佢哋一啲方法，譬如有啲人士係嚟咗香港 see for themselves， 去睇喺香港究竟發生咗啲咩事，用一個受過教育嘅心嘅腦袋，用一個清澈嘅心靈去睇呢個地方。我哋十分之感謝呢兩班人對香港嘅默默支持，而希望民主自由亦都將會眷顧佢哋。
有冇問題？有冇 question？ 咁如果冇，我哋今日記者會就喺度完結啦。如果有咩問題，可以再留翻聯絡我哋書面回應。多謝你。Attending the 10th Citizen Press Conference。
3個人嘅 team，咁我哋有啲就